It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Friday, March 29th, and so happy for you joining us. We are ready to start another day together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So today we have an exciting podcast for you. We have Until the End with Daniel Baker, the Wednesday Message Word Study, and of course commentaries, updates, and news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone, how are you doing? And I hope everyone has had a wonderful week. We are already at Friday. I am so thankful. The weekend is here. Don't forget, we have Q&A Thursday every week, so get those questions ready. Send them to me whenever you can. And for today's podcast, if you haven't yet, leave a like and comment to build our community. Just super happy for everyone joining us every weekday on the Morning Star Drive. So let's get up and support each other each and every day. This week's Sunday message title is Do Not Stumble on Account of Me, or Do Not Be Disappointed. So I am quite happy and excited. We've already reached the end of the week. It is Friday. I am very, very happy, just having a fun time these last couple of days. You know, it makes such a big difference to have, like, even for me, like, after I had that realization about my dream revelation, and now having, like, that actual direction that I need, it makes a huge difference. It really does. And, you know, it makes me feel like what I'm doing is meaningful and that, oh, this is the thing that God wants me to do, right? So, but you know, I'm also guessing that this is just like the honeymoon stage, and it will get difficult again a little bit later once this feeling passes by. Like it's going to be a natural thing. So I really feel while I have this inspiration and this energy, this is the time to really start flying again. You know, like running and making as many videos as possible, making sure that I have a lot of things. I get a lot of things done, especially with this YouTube channel and getting it off and going. Like I was also talking to another friend in Korea, and he was one of the original people that started the one-man protest in front of the court offices, the courts, I guess. And he started a channel. And the channel's doing well. He's got some videos that are like 21,000 views, and it's all doctrinal, right? And he's put up a ton of videos and such, but he's like, he's kind of in a situation, he's like, he doesn't know what to do next because he's put so much content up, right? Because it's all about the word and the 30 lessons and stuff like that too. It's almost like he's exhausted all his, He's exhausted all his information of what you can put out for like the 30 lessons and such. And I think that is, when I was talking to him, I was like, oh wow, like you've run out of things to talk about. But even for me, like I was thinking to myself, I was like, wait a second. Like I've been talking to a couple of YouTubers these days too, and talking to another friend over there in Taiwan, and he was telling me like, wow, it's quite incredible that I've been doing a podcast 5 days a week for 4 years straight. And like we're over 1,000 podcasts, and he was quite shocked. And I thought to myself is like, yeah, it's so true, because he said he's doing a podcast too, like once a week, and he says even that is quite difficult. And I was like, it's so true. Like in the beginning, trying to figure out all the things is there really something to talk about every single day? And I think it really depends on how you've basically trained your mind. Meaning, because I made up my mind to do it 5 times a week, like the first like couple months, it's not easy. I'm just like trying to bringing up stories in my life. But eventually, as you go through the 5 times a week, you are basically training your mind, which means that anyone can train it. But I do think you have to make up your mind for it, or else, you know, you might run out of content. I'm actually quite surprised that I haven't run out of content after 1,050 episodes kind of thing, right? I think that's kind of funny that, like, not funny, but I think it's quite amazing, right? If we put our mind to something, we can find things to talk about. It's just what it is. Like, think about this. Whenever you meet your friends, sometimes you talk to them for hours and hours. There's so much to talk about. Once you talk, there's more things to talk about too. So, I think right now, as we are doing these, what do you call it? Right now, as I got the inspiration for internet ministry, I think that I got to just go and make as many episodes as possible, put them in the bank, right? Just in case something happens, right? Just in case I have to go on vacation. Not vacation, sorry. I have to leave the country for something, just in case I'm called to do something else here or there, right? So that is something that I'm thinking about, and something that I do think, while I'm in this honeymoon stage, I've got to do as much as I can, right? It's Friday. Curious, what are your plans for the weekend? Write in the comments below. Would love to hear what you guys are doing on the weekend. Are there any events happening at your church? People going on vacation, or newcomers that are learning, going out to evangelize, or like what kind of things do you guys have planned for this weekend? For myself, it's the last weekend of March. I'm not even sure if I have anything really like different planned. I don't have anything different planned. I don't. Actually, I wouldn't mind going on a cafe hop. That would be kind of cool. Yeah, I was at church yesterday. I was like, hey, we should go on a cafe. Like, I love meeting other people that love coffee. I just do. And just sit there like, oh, this is so cool. Let's go out for coffee. And this is like, I think that is something that I do enjoy. Like going on a nice cafe hop. Oh, by the way, have you guys seen the new thumbnails? Like, go to the Rebel Pastor channel, and you're gonna see something pretty crazy. Is brand new what do you call it? Thumbnails, right? Brand new thumbnails. My the editor and the person that I work with right now, is just two of us at the moment. Oh, she's doing an amazing job. She really is. I'm so thankful. She did all the thumbnails yesterday, and I am just grateful and thankful that we were able to start doing these thumbnails before there were too many videos, right? Because at this point, there was only like 5 videos, so she didn't have to do that many thumbnails. But, from now on, we have like kind of a base, like a template of how we want to do each of the things. And the way she's doing it is great, right? So I am super grateful and thankful. Look at the new thumbnails. I took some pictures the other day. I can work on these thumbnails. And now we have new thumbnails for every new video and rebrand that we did. So you guys can go ahead and be even more comfortable sharing these videos because they have good thumbnails now too. So go take a look. See the thumbnails, and now just share those but share those with as many people as you can. I'm looking forward to doing that also. You know what? I also have another good friend of mine, artist, and I was like, hey, can you, because I lost a hoodie. Did I tell you guys I lost a hoodie? Yeah, I lost a hoodie, right? So I only have one hoodie at the moment. So I'm going to get myself some new hoodies with some Rebel Pastor designs. So I have a good friend over there that's helping me with these designs and such. So hopefully maybe something by mid-April, which would be really cool. And I was thinking about doing like old school designs. Like old school TV shows in my days, like the pastel colors and the neons, like Miami Vice style Rebel Pastor hoodie, or a G.I. Joe Rebel Pastor hoodie. I just want to have some fun doing this, so people look at this like, oh, that's kind of cool. I want one of those kind of thing, right? So yeah, that's kind of that's kind of the things that I'm looking forward to, is kind of like the creative process of branding and such. I think that would be something that a lot of people would enjoy. And, it's something that I do think people would actually buy and wear too, right? Because I think, like I want to have sweaters that just say #Rebel. It doesn't even have to say Rebel Pastor. If it just says Rebel, I'd be like, yeah, that's kind of cool to have that type of a hoodie, t-shirt, or something along that line too. But I want to get some of these things there also. You know what I've been thinking these days? Because internet ministry is such a big thing going on right now all over Providence. And it's such a big time for internet ministry, but I do see a division coming. Like, not division as in people are fighting and they're divided in like, in Providence. I'm not talking about that type of division, but I think there's going to be a division when it comes to evangelism. When it comes to the big split in people's thinking when it comes to evangelism now, right? So let me give you an example. If we make an online church, right? And, we're going to make an online church. I know many churches are going to ask, how do you connect these people to Providence from the online church? And my thoughts at the moment is, you're not going to connect them to the Providence Church. That's what I see. Like, I don't think you can connect them. It's more for planting seeds for the future, right? Not for right now. I think thinking about only how to evangelize right now through an online church, I think it will fail. Because think about it. You start an online church just to get people into to Providence right now. Like, once slander hits or whatever it is, basically that online church is done. It's finished, right? Like, no one's going to come. Everyone knows kind of thing, right? I think it's more for planting seeds, right? No one is taken out directly to be evangelized by teaching the word and bringing them into a physical church, right? Like, some people might even, and if when I say this, I think it could be a little bit controversial because people might ask, well, what's the point of internet ministry if we're not going to bring them into this history? And I would say, we are looking at this in more of a long-term, not short-term, right? Like, if Sunseam wants 1 million people for internet followers, which basically means they hear the word, they agree with it, they follow that influencer, and they're not against Providence, like, that in itself is a type of member, right? It's an internet ministry member. It is not like a core member that we see right now. Like, put it this way. Let's say you had a business and it plays a role of an external witness. So you basically just have to become very, very successful and it becomes an external witness for this history. Like, would you start letting people from church come into your business and start evangelizing everyone inside? And the answer is no way. You just let it grow into a great business, which is an external witness. And that in itself would be an external witness for this history, right? You wouldn't actually be, you wouldn't sit there like, oh, I need to go evangelize everyone in my company. Right? And I think the model for evangelism is going to slightly change. There's going to be 1, the core members, and 2, there's going to be internet members. And I think these two shouldn't collide because the internet members are not going to survive, or like that whole system is not going to survive. Right? Imagine you have 1 million and then all of a sudden you're trying to evangelize everyone else, slander breaks in there, and then you lose all these internet members, and then Sunseam doesn't have the 1 million internet followers, right? It kind of defeats the purpose. Like, what I see is, or what I actually feel at this moment too, and we're going to get more information as it comes out, but just the fact that there's such thing as an internet follower, I think Sunseam's thinking very long term. Like, I think he sees something for the future that we don't see. And I talked about this week too, is I think we're just preparing the fields for the future. Like, people are going to start agreeing with the words that we preach, even though it's not said we're Providence, whatever it is. They don't oppose Providence. And that in itself is what Sunseam is looking for to get the 1 million internet followers, right? Which, like, what does that mean? Like, at the moment, I know Korea's goal at the moment is not, remember, it's not just direct evangelism, it's also indirect, is to get 30,000 internet followers in this first stage, right? Like, and it's very, very interesting, but let me tell you this comment that I have on my, the comment that we have in this from MSD, and the comment was, maybe for this podcast or your Rebel Pastor channel, some Christians I've seen on social media think about the church as the bride. How do we help them realize it's not the church as a whole who is the bride, but each individual can become a bride only when we receive Jesus Christ's second coming, right? So when I look at this, I think that I think about internet ministry as in it's spreading the seeds where people are already just starting to think about the bride, right? So the bride concept now is not as strange because there are people who believe that the church is the bride. There are people that do believe individually that we are brides, right? We're supposed to be brides and not just children. So I've seen that. I've seen pastors on YouTube talking about the bride. But I think that is something that is one step closer to getting, preparing the fields to be truly evangelized. Meaning that once people are starting to agree with certain things about the word, oh yeah, I agree with this. Oh, I agree that it's a parable. Oh, I agree that clouds may not be literal clouds. Oh, I agree that fire may not. Oh, that's a good point. Oh, these are great verses to look at. And when they start to agree with these things, when the word actually comes to them, they're not going to be shocked by it. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to be like, oh my gosh, this is too far off from my faith. No, they're all going to be being prepared and made ready for it. Right? And I think that's what this long-term thing is for internet ministry, is to kind of spread the seeds of the gospel into the world. And as people begin to accept and believe it, later, eventually when the word is preached, they're going to be like, I can't see this as bad. I agree with this. I really, really think that this is something that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I agree with it. You know what I mean? So I do think it's more of the preparation of, what do you call it? The preparation of this, the seeds, right? That's one of the goals, is to prepare the fields, put the seeds in. It's going to take some time, right? And I feel that's a really, really big part of the goals of internet ministry. Prepare the fields, which means we may not see the fruits of the seeds that we spread until like the later future, like maybe even beyond our time or after our prime years are done, right? The fields must be made ready before they can be harvested. And it looks like we are in that time of preparing the fields at the moment, right? And like I said, a lot of people, I think there's going to be a clash in people's thoughts. Like some people are going to think only about internet ministry only as the direct, like, oh, it must lead to someone being physically evangelized inside of our church kind of thing. But when I look at it from very long-term point of view, like, I've been doing internet ministry for 4 years now. When I look at the long term, I think that's very short-term thinking, is to only think about a new member right now. Right? That's why I think that even when it comes to an online church, yes, some members will be watching it and such, but I don't think that the goal is going to be, get every person in the online church and connect them to a church so that they can physically come. I don't think that's the goal. I really don't. Like for the online church, I think it's going to be for online members. Not so much going to be like, hey, let's evangelism directly now right over. I think I think that's even the same thing when it comes to, like, say, when we think about direction for volleyball. I think it's the exact same thing. Which means like you're either going to use it for evangelism or you're either going to make it into an external witness organization that is just famous for something to do with volleyball. But you can't have both. You just can't, because if you're trying to be famous, yet you're trying to evangelize every person that comes, people are going to just leave like, oh, this is a church thing, right? Or if slander hits, that organization is done, right? So I think we need to start thinking much, much more long-term. And I think when you see the way Sunsteam talks about internet ministry right now, we have to look at the future long-term. Right? And I don't think it's about core members. I really don't. Like, I think there's going to be two separate types of evangelism that are going to be happening. And people are either going to use internet ministry just as a tool, like, for instance, oh, we have an event going on, so let's post our advertisement on social media. For me personally, I don't think it's a very good thing. Not a good thing. I don't think it's a very effective thing, because internet usually goes to where? It goes to it blasts to basically your own followers, and that's it. That's all it really blasts to, right? It's more of an announcement portal, like say like Instagram. If you have 1,000 followers, they're from all over the world, and then you're like advertising some event you have physically at church, it's going to affect what? Only the people that are in your area. Which means that I would say if you really want to make social media work for you, you'd have to pay for advertisement. You'd have to say that, hey, I'd like this advertisement to go out to the area that I'm living in. Like, say if I'm in Vancouver, it blasts out to Vancouver, and that's it. And you pay money to blast that one announcement, but you can't expect announcing on Instagram to be your internet ministry. I don't think that makes any sense. Right? So I think that there's going to be two different types of internet ministry. One is going to be to directly bring people to your church physically. And I do believe the second one is going to be just purely internet followers. And for me, I do think that the Rebel Pastor is going to be one of those. It's going to be for purely internet followers. And I do think the online church is purely going to be for that too. That's what I really, really feel. Right? Of course, when discussions with Sunsteam could make things a little bit different, but this is kind of what I feel at this moment is what internet ministry is actually going to do. That's what I feel. Yeah. Oh, I had this great, I don't know. Give me your thoughts on that too. Give me your thoughts on what you think about internet ministry, and do you think there's going to be a split? And I do think there's going to be people who are very adamant it's got to be for physical people that are coming into Providence, which I don't think so. I see it as a very long-term project. I've been getting some comments on my Rebel Pastor channel, and I have a friend from Vancouver, and it's basically an Instagram friend that I met, and they sent me this comment, and they said, "Thank you for sharing, Sky. I skipped my morning sermon to listen to your episode instead," which is episode 3 about prayer. And this newcomer, she's not learning the word, but it's a friend of mine, says, "They're strong and profound words, and they'll stick with me throughout the day for sure. Thank you for walking through prayer with everyone." Right? And like when I saw this, I was like, wow, this is great. Like I'm very thankful that it's making an impact. And I don't think we really realize how powerful the words we have are. That when a regular person who's never heard the word listens to it, they're like, whoa, like this is strong and profound. Like these are powerful words. And we just need to be the ones that find a medium or a way to bring these words out, right? And I hope it's something that all of us will really be able to understand, right? So I think it's something that we will really, this internet ministry is going to be a lot bigger than we think. Getting this message out, think about it. I record once and like hundreds of people are already watching it. Just recording once, right? And they realize how powerful the word really is. So I was super thankful to God when I heard this. Also, I'm just going to tell you guys right now, I am super thankful for everyone here supporting the new rebrand for the Rebel Pastor YouTube channel. It's really helping getting the channel out. Hopefully we'll see some change in the future. Like even right now, like what do I see? Like what are the statistics over the last 2 weeks? And I'm going to get a much better statistic over when 2 more weeks passes by, because the statistics usually go, every 4 weeks, right? So this is 2 weeks plus, 2 weeks of not having anything posted. And we've gone up 104 subscribers. We're up to 13,000 views for the last 4 weeks. And they said right now it is close to 8,000 more than usual. The watch time is 285 hours more than usual. Subscribers is almost 60 more than usual. And of course, even our estimated revenue is up 130%. Now, guys, if you want to know, like, oh my gosh, is Pastor Sky making a ton of money from this? And the answer is, it means at the moment I'm making $16.03 per month. So no, I am not making bank, guys. I just want to let you guys know it's not like that. Yeah, I'm not making like that type of money. It's growing. It's 130% higher than what it was before in the past. So I am just grateful. It's just a sign that it is growing. It is growing. So I am grateful and thankful for this. Oh, one last thing, guys. I really felt yesterday when I was explaining in Q&A Thursday about turning water to wine, I felt that I wasn't being as clear as I should have been. So let me just reiterate the first miracle Jesus did was turning water to wine, okay? And the first thing I want to so I want to do this kind of like a lecture, right? The first thing I want to explain to you is what was the situation at that time. It's a wedding banquet, right? And in every wedding banquet, there is wine served at the wedding. And in this wedding banquet, they eventually ran out of wine before the wedding banquet ended, which is not a good thing, okay? So basically, that is the literal physical situation. Now, this is where it gets interesting and where the explanation comes in a little bit more deeply. Mary, who's Jesus' mother, asks Jesus to do something about it. Now, so here's a question I have that we have to think to ourselves is, does Mary know much about Jesus doing miracles? Like, we don't hear anything about Jesus' miracles when he was young. Like, there was no miracles like this. Has he turned water to wine before? So what does she mean when she tells Jesus to do something about, like, you should do something, and Jesus says, my time has not come yet? Well, there's one thing that Mary does know about Jesus is his knowledge in the Word of God. And he's urging him, hey, now it's go and say something. But Jesus is like, no, it's not my time yet, right? So how do we break down this parable, right? So one thing we do need to know is whenever you read the Bible and whenever there's a parable or whenever you hear Jesus speak, how does it usually work? Well, we break the parables down usually where, like this. Remember the story of the Samaritan woman? How does it start out? It starts out physically. At the physical well, getting physical water. And then what does Jesus do? He says, you should have asked me for water, and I would have given you water that leads to eternal life, which means he changes to spiritual, right? So Jesus is always looking at a physical situation and then talking something spiritual through it. Look at Jesus feeding the 5,000. It starts off physically. Can we really feed these people, these 5,000 people? We don't have enough bread for this. Right? And then Jesus uses that physical situation to begin talking about, or a springboard to talk about something spiritual, like the spiritual bread, right? And this is a common occurrence, not just with Jesus using a physical situation to explain something spiritual, but it's also the same thing Sunsteam does, right? Right after sports, he gets a realization from sports and takes the physical thing and makes it spiritual. When he's pruning trees, when he's talking about rocks, it starts physical and then he talks about it spiritually. This is the way that God works. That's how parables work. You take the physical thing and then you make it spiritual. In this situation with water to wine, two things are occurring at the same time. The first is physically they ran out of wine. Right, that's the first physical situation. The second physical situation is that in the wedding banquet, there's always word or preaching given by the rabbi or religious leader at the beginning and at the end. Okay, so the question is, do you really think that Jesus cares about giving people wine? Like, is that really something he cares about? And the answer is absolutely not. If he turned water to wine and then started preaching, that'd be completely different. But it's just wine. That's it. Like, is this really a major issue? Like, oh my gosh, we don't have enough alcohol, you know? Like, if it was really, and think about this, if it was really water miraculously turning into wine, don't you think there'd be rumors spread everywhere? Because remember, it wasn't just Mary and Jesus that knew. It was the servants that poured the water into the jars that knew what was going on too, right? The servants that poured the water into the jars, don't you think that they would have said something like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest miracle I've ever seen? No rumors. Right? No, nothing about Jesus doing this miracle, right? So what does it mean, the wine running out? The wine running out is not just meaning that literally the wine ran out, but it also means that there was no one to preach the ending preaching of the wedding banquet. There's no one to give the word at the end of the wedding, which was supposed to be customary. What is Mary pushing Jesus to do? The one thing he does best. And why would Jesus say, it's not my time yet? Meaning, if he preaches the word, he can be revealed, right? So he's like, it's not my time. It's not about the miracles, it's about the preaching. So what is the actual result happening from turning water to wine? Remember, what the host said is, usually the best wine is served at the beginning, right? Meaning, the best word or preaching is done by the rabbi at the beginning, but when Jesus preaches at the end, the people are so amazed and shocked. The host says, oh my gosh, they saved the best wine for last, or others saying the best preaching happened at the end and not the beginning, right? And it was very unexpected. It was a miracle, like turning water to wine. Why? Because there was no one capable to preach the final message. And then they bring in this non-rabbi, this non-religious leader, and he speaks even better than the rabbi, right? So it's like thinking that this guy is not wine. He's like the other priests and rabbis, but they think that, oh, here's this regular water. He's just water, plain and bland, right? He's not like the wine from the preaching of the rabbis and the priests, but they find out he is the best wine, delivering the best word, and this is turning water to wine. All right, so I wanted to just be a little bit more clear about this too, so it's not like I felt that I didn't do it any justice yesterday. Either way, okay? So that's kind of the things I wanted to go over, but hopefully leave it in the comments if that's a lot better of an explanation than what I did yesterday, okay? So before we get into the Wednesday message word study, let's first get into the music break of the day.
Yeah. Wish I could Kobe in our prime. Jordan Pippen do time. We breaking records all the time. Pass the rock and I'ma fly. Yeah, I'm turning to a legend. Yeah, I'm turning super saiyan. Yeah, I'm honest with saying. Yeah, I'm honest with saying. I am a legend. Rise to the legends. I am a legend. We are the legends. I am a legend. I am a legend. We are the legends. Rise to the legends. I wanna be a legend, singing to the heavens. Living in the golden city, standing in his presence. Climbing and raising the level to satisfy him. Expectations are so high, you know that we gon' win. The title don't mean nothing if you do nothing. Every time we hit the focus, yeah, we killing something. In the golden city, yeah, we party every day. To be a legend, just do well and just prepare the way. Some in life in my brain, some in life in my veins. When people live to the destiny, that's the greatest joy I own, man. I feel like Kobe, 81, do everything, focus on the one. Sunny boys, trying to be those ones. We got the answers, no other son. Wish I could Kobe in our prime. Jordan Pippen do time. We breaking records all the time. Pass the rock and I'ma fly. Yeah, I'm turning to a legend. Yeah, I'm turning super saiyan. Yeah, I'm honest with saying. Yeah, I'm honest with saying. I am a legend. Rise to the legends. I am a legend. We are the legends. I am a legend. I am a legend. We are the legends. Rise to the legends.
Oh, slow it down. People need explanation right now. Just leave a message I can answer right now. Just look at all the things we done, like heroes get remembered, legends never die. I just put to work whatever comes to mind. Getting older, but I swear it's lit all the time. Yeah, we brought a whole crew up, pipe it up. Yeah, we always showing new stuff, live it up. Total shit, oh yeah, you don't know what's up. Hit the folks, yeah, we coming up. Write our names in the books, cause we catching up. Rise to the legends, 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 rise to the legends.
We are the legends. Wish I could Kobe in our prime. Jordan Pippen do time. We breaking records all the time. Pass the rock and I'ma fly. Yeah, I'm turning to a legend. Yeah, I'm turning super saiyan. Yeah, I'm honest with saying. Yeah, I'm honest with saying. I am a legend. Rise to the legends. I am a legend. We are the legends. I am a legend. I am a legend. We are the legends. Rise to the legends. Wish I could Kobe in our prime. Jordan Pippen do time. We breaking records all the time. Pass the rock and I'ma fly. Yeah, I'm turning to a legend. Yeah, I'm turning super saiyan. Yeah, I'm honest with saying. Yeah, I'm honest with saying. I am a legend. Rise to the legends. I am a legend. We are the legends. I am a legend. I am a legend. We are the legends. Rise to the legends. Wish I could Kobe in our prime. Jordan Pippen do time. We breaking records all the time. Pass the rock and I'ma fly. Yeah, I'm turning to a legend. Yeah, I'm turning super saiyan. Yeah, I'm honest with saying. Yeah, I'm honest with saying. I am a legend. Rise to the legends. I am a legend. We are the legends. I am a legend. I am a legend. We are the legends. Rise to the legends.
All right, so let's get into today's word study. And of course, every Friday is the Wednesday message word study. And what an amazing Wednesday message it was. Very, very short. I think it was shockingly short. We finished, we started service at 8. And I think we finished something like 8:40 or something along that line. It was too short. And tell me this, guys. when I heard the title, I was like, oh, it's like the Wednesday message is God makes you realize by bringing distress. I was like, oh, I'm like, oh my gosh, I better realize quickly or else God's going to bring me distress. It was like all of us we're kind of like snickering in the background. It's like this week's Wednesday message title is God makes you realize by bringing distress. And we kind of we're like, oh, and then we all like giggled at the same time because it's like, man, that sounds like a really strong message. So we'll get into it. It's a very, very short message, and I hope that you guys will gain a lot from this. I really like the first part, right? It's about not thinking too positively or not thinking too negatively, right? So it's like, sometimes we're always like, oh man, be positive. You got to be positive about these things, right? And the main point was, it's not about being positive all the time. It's not about being negative all the time. The most important part is depending on, is it God's will or not, right? You can't base it on your own thoughts or your own thinking, right? You may think, something's positive, but what if it's not the will? That means you're looking at something that's not the will in a positive light. And the opposite is the same. What if something's negative, right? You think something's negative, but it is the will, right? And I think that is something that we don't really kind of get. It's almost like what Peter did. Remember when Jesus said he's going to die on the cross, Peter stands up and says, no, never. And then Jesus is straight up like, get behind me, Satan. What's the key point there? The key point there is not about whether being positive or negative, being a hero, being a villain, whatever it is. It's about what is God's will. And I think that's such an important point that sometimes we don't realize that is not, we have to do it according to what God's will is, not according to my own criteria of thinking like, nah, it's fine, it's okay, everything's going to, no, what if it's not? What if it's not God's will? Shouldn't we be people that when God is like feeling that deep shimjung, that we should be feeling the same thing? We shouldn't be the ones saying, no, it's okay, but God's like, no, it's not okay. And I think that's where we kind of fail to realize. And I think part of it has to do with what's going on in Korea too, where a lot of people are thinking to themselves that they can be the ones that help Sunsim in this situation. They could be the ones reporting. They're the ones trying to find a new lawyer. I'm not saying this actually happened. I'm just kind of giving examples like, telling people that this is false or this is true, spreading rumors when they're not even sure if it's real or not, if it's truth or a rumor or not. And this is where God's like, hey, if you don't realize what's going on or what's God's will and what isn't, God's going to bring distress so you realize what is true and what is false, right? And that's why for us, we have to understand is, hey, if we want to know what is truth, we want to know what is the right thing, we have to understand that God is always conveying his will through the one sent, which means we can figure out whether to be positive or negative about something according to what we hear through the word, through the one sent, right? And we're going to see like, so this is God's will. Or on the other side, we're going to be like, oh, this is not God's will. We can't look at it too highly. Like what I think one thing that we have to really think about is like, when it means to be, I'm a very positive person. So I do look at the positive of every single thing. Why? So that my heart doesn't get like down. My heart doesn't get depressed, right? I don't want to be in that situation. Like I'm not there to get, that's one thing I don't want. But I'm trying to look at the good side just for the sake of my own heart. But I can also see something like, oh, that's so bad. What just happened? Like for instance, let's look at KJS. I'm like, that's terrible. And I know it's terrible. I know it's wrong. I know it's not the will. But what will I be positive about? I'll be like, at least we know now that it didn't go too far down the road that more people could have been hurt. So I'm looking at like a positive light about it, but I know it's a wrong thing. So I think that what Sunsim is saying is not so much like you cannot be positive at all, right? We don't want to get depressed. We don't want to be people who are angry. We don't want to be people that start hurting people and stuff like that too, right? Or react emotionally. What we're looking at is like if something is wrong, don't look at it as right. You know what I mean? Like we can't say that, oh, it's so wrong that KJS, that all these bad, it's so wrong that you think about her that way. It's like, no, 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 right? We have to understand, yeah, she is wrong. She did something wrong, and we have to recognize that, right? But on the positive side, is there a positive side? For me, it would be like, wow, but we're learning. We're learning what not to do in the future. We're learning from her mistakes. We're seeing what she did wrong so that we don't do the same wrong things in the future too. So that's a positive side to it. So I do think that is something that we have to look at it in that light. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't think it's saying don't be positive at all for something that's not God's will. No, there's always a positive light that you can see from something wrong that you know is absolutely wrong. So I think that's something that we do have to realize and recognize too. Okay? So moving along, I think the next point that I like is how Sunsim brings up how he realized the message, right? So Sunsim was talking about this one time where, it was pre-dawn and he kept sleeping because he worked late the night before. And I think this is really interesting because sometimes we think to ourselves is like, oh my gosh, I worked late, so I'm going to skip pre-dawn kind of thing, right? Because I worked late the night before. And Sunsim saw that his soul was walking down a very unnecessary path in a treacherous area, suffering in distress. And he knew that he should have prayed at that time. And Sunsim was saying that, God made me realize by bringing distress, showing that my soul was suffering. So then I got up and I prayed. And then I saw my soul riding on the right path in a car. And then at the end, when he got to the destination, people of Providence were waiting for him. And then his soul delivered the message, right? So I thought that was very cool. Like I want us to really think about what that means, right? He didn't wake up at the right time. It was something that he absolutely had to do, right? And in order for God to show him that, man, you really have to do this, he showed him his soul suffering, right? And I think it's something that we have to take, like, hey, do your best, right? If you can get up, right? Like, for instance, if you slept really, really late the night before and you didn't wake up, you know what I mean? Like, you just basically slept through the alarm, you're so exhausted. I think that's completely different than you getting up and you're like, yeah, just going to go back to sleep when you've already gotten up, right? Where it's that easy to at least get up and pray. That's a completely different thing, don't you think? Right? Because there's times if you're just completely exhausted, you just sleep through your alarm. You don't remember anything that has happened, right? I think that's completely different too. Like from situation circumstance, because you were that exhausted. But even though you work late, yeah, there are times you still wake up and you can get up and you can at least you can still pray, right? And, especially with Sunsim's position, he's like the lifeline. If he doesn't pray, there's going to be a lot of problems, right? He's not going to be able to receive the word. And that's kind of why he received that type of revelation. And it was interesting as he moved forward into that, like when he was looking at the soul world, what he saw about himself. When he saw the members waiting for him at the destination, when he was preaching through his soul, he saw people with clean clothes, saw people with ordinary clothes, and he saw people with filthy clothing, right? And of course, everything is according to the deeds of our bodies, right? Some people were wearing dark clothing because they were mistreating or misunderstanding their brothers. Some didn't even recognize who Sunsim was, right? And what does Sunsim say? Who are the ones that do not recognize Sunsim? Well, in the spiritual world, why don't you recognize Sunsim? Because you don't know him correctly. So for us, in the physical world, we see the physical body and we say, oh, there's Sunsim. But remember, the spiritual world, the soul world is the level of the heart, which means if you don't know someone, even if they physically look the same, remember, it's about the heart. It's about knowing them in the heart. So if we don't know correctly in the physical realm, it's the same as not recognizing in the soul and the spiritual realm, right? So it's all the disconnect, the misunderstanding, not recognizing who Sunsim is. It's basically the failure that happened in the body that causes it in the spirit, right? It's about realizing properly and knowing the word correctly. So, I really like how Sunseam went over that dream with us, right? And I hope it's something that it can really inspire us to really hit that next level of thinking or the next level of thought, right? So when Sunseam continued on, he said, when you look at souls and spirits that don't connect well with your spirit, you know what I mean? And I think it would be the same thing as in the physical world. There are a lot of things where there's people out there where characters just don't match. It's true, right? Sometimes the character doesn't match, right? Either ignorant or stubborn. Like, there's like people who have these different characteristics. It just doesn't match with you. Like someone who's super funny and then someone who's too serious. It just doesn't match, right? But he says when you look at souls and spirits too, there's souls and spirits that don't connect well because of ignorance and being stubborn, don't listen very well, don't listen to the word, they're not obedient to the word, they misunderstand a lot, or they're living in the domain of like Satans and ghosts and demons and stuff like that too. They're influenced by darkness, right? So what we have to understand is, there comes a point where we don't connect with God. And there's going to be like moments, like, haven't you guys ever had that where you have someone you're really close to, but sometimes, just very rarely, you hang out, but you just don't connect. You know what I mean? It's just like, I just want to go home kind of thing because, and it happens sometimes every once in a while. And I think what Sunsi was saying here is, sometimes that happens to us and God too. So how do you get rid of it? Well, it's usually because we're influenced by Satan's ghosts, demons and stuff, influenced by darkness and the things that we've done. And like two things we really need to do when we pray is, number one was we need to repent because God cannot be with what is sinful and dirty. And two is we need to drive out Satan's before we pray, or else how can God come when we have Satan's and demons all around us? Right? So I think I looked at that, I was like, that's so true. Sometimes we forget to cast away Satan's and demons, and sometimes we forget to repent, right? So I hope that we can really, really do well in this area and just kind of do these different basic type of things, right? There are some things that Sunseam said that we have to do better, right? Like Sunseam says there's some people that claim with their lips, hey, I'm doing well. But in reality, they're upsetting the Lord's heart. They're outside the Lord's domain. And they, these people are also given distress. So they realize and they can correct themselves. Like they think they're doing well, but they're not. They're actually really upsetting the Lord's heart, right? So there's one thing that we can realize about ourselves is if we go through distress, sometimes it's just about us. We think we're fine, but we're not. Another thing Sunseam said is some fail to gather and scatter, right? So instead of gathering and scattering together with the Lord, they do things center on themselves, right? And Sunseam said in this situation, sometimes God works through others to bring distress to them. And then that person becomes miserable. So if you're only centered on yourself and you don't obey the word, or you didn't give glory to God, or if you didn't offer service to God, like the pre-dawn or the Sunday or the Wednesday, whatever it is, not keeping the time of service, this is when God brings distress upon us too, right? So, these are all, I like it how God's like, these are the different situations in which these things, where distress comes, where you think you're doing well, but you really got to fix yourself. So I'm going to bring distress upon you so you can realize. Or if you're just too centered on yourself, then misery comes so that you can realize even more, right? Well, you have to obey the word, right? Offer service to God. These are the things that we really need to do. But you're too self-centered. I'm tired. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that, right? So when you think about this, I think that sometimes we are getting into that zone, right? Where it's too self-centered. I didn't get this. I didn't get that. Oh, why are they doing this to me? Oh, the head leader said this. I think this head leader's talking about me. Oh, why are they saying these? Like, it's very, very self-centered. And I think that we have to be those that realize, and this is one of the big principles in the Bible, is God rewards everyone according to what they've done. Right? And especially how they treat the man of mission, but it's according to what you've done. So I hope that this is something that everything will be repaid for good and evil. Right? Everything is all good and evil will be repaid. So we have to be very careful about these things. Right? So, yeah, there's at one point it's like, yeah, God's judging every day, like every person. Each person is being examined and judged every day. And I'm just like, wow, right? And, that's why we have to open our eyes right now. And if you want to see what's happening to each person, look at each individual to see what's happening to them. Look at each nation to see what's happening to them. Look at the world situation. And ultimately, it comes down to how have you treated the one that God has sent? Like, that's the ultimate thing, right? So, I really hope that we can kind of raise our levels even more, because the message is basically done now, right? It's basically done. 3 key points from the Sunday message. I love how Sunday did that at the very end. What was the 3 key points? Number 1 is think and act according to God's will. And that was about positivity and negativity, right? Do it according to God's will. Number 2, God makes you realize by bringing distress. So sometimes, guys, when distress comes, don't just say, oh, why is this happening to me? That's a very self-centered way, right? Like, oh, why is it so bad? Why is it like this? But what we have to think about is this God bringing distress for me to realize something, right? And the 3rd key point is God rewards according to how you treat the man of mission. That's been a theme for the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, 3 weeks also. So I hope these are things that we really recognize too, right? So it was a short message, but Sunseem said, this is a message of wisdom and knowledge. Open your eyes of realization right now, right? There's a lot of things we need to realize even more deeply and better, okay? So see what God is doing to each person, to each nation, to providence, to the entire world, and you see what is happening. So don't just look at it and just say, oh, this is a natural occurrence, right? Because, imagine that. Imagine it's like, oh, yeah, it's a natural occurrence. Like this happened here, or this happened there. Like I think we really have to think deeply that sometimes it's not a natural occurrence, but God is allowing things to happen because that's how the nation has treated the man of mission. So especially look at Korea. Like I said, if you look at Korea, there's problems there, and God is judging according to what the nation has done, right? So very, very interesting, and I hope that we can look at our own nations too and all the difficulties and how each nation is being judged also. All right? So there it is, guys. That is today's Wednesday Missed Word Study. It is short because it was a very, very short message. Okay? If you have anything else to add, go ahead, leave it in the message, in the comments below. All right? So last segment today in the entire week, of course, we have Until the End with Daniel Baker. Hope you guys will enjoy this as you normally do. Let's get into the last music break of the day.
I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. We stay looking for someone to hold when the right one's standing at your door. Open up your heart and say, I believe in what you say, and I promise you will gain much more. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. 10 years of struggle, 10 years of pain, but I'll finally get to see you no more. Just calling your name, and the ones who wonder who, just open up your eyes. He's waiting for you too. He's not a man in disguise. And the hardest cross to bear, but your heart's not what I wear. To think this effort and this love could overcome the dirty stairs, and it's all because of you. Yeah, it's all because of you. Said it's all because of you. Yeah, I need you. Looking for someone to hold when the right one's standing at your door. Open up your heart and say, I believe in what you say, and I promise you will gain much more. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yes, you right now. Yes, you right now that I need. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yes, you right now. Yes, you right now that I need.
Okay, so let's get into the final segment for today and for the entire week. Of course, we have Until the End with Daniel Baker over there in Korea, and he is preparing to be a caddy. I hope that you guys keep him in your prayers. Lots of things that he's doing, and he'll be able to prepare himself for the future, as I believe he will be coming. I believe he's coming to Malaysia, but let's see what happens. All right, so there it is, guys. Let's welcome all the way from Korea. This is Daniel Baker with Until the End.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Do It Until the End podcast. I hope everyone is having an amazing week with the Trinity, and let's end the week off really well together. Okay, so I just want to say, like, one of the biggest realizations I'm having these days is because of my job. You know, it's so amazing and it's so important in our life to experience many different people. Now, why is this the case? If you're selling a product, right, there's multiple ways, or there's multiple different people that will experience your product, right? And so it's like as you work with someone, or as you either sell a product or do something like that, it's the approach you're going to have to do is different from every single person, right? And that's the same for my job, right? Every single day, good or bad, I meet 4 different people, sometimes 8 if it's 2 teams, but I meet 4 different people, and I'm able to have a pretty decent time. You know, some people are a little bit more on the stressful side, but, you know, every single person is different, right? And every single person is different. That means that how you're going to approach them, how you're going to interact with them is going to be different, right? So this is something I really realized very early on of my job. And after a couple of years, if I do this job for a couple of years, I feel like I'm going to like meet 300, 400 individual people. That's probably more on like 1,000, 2,000 people. And really interacting with these people for one day or for 4 or 5 hours. And the amazing thing about my job is like, even if the best people, unfortunately, the best people, I can't meet them again. However, even the worst people, I meet, the people who give me the most stress, people who yell at me, who cuss at me, those, even if I don't want to see those people because of my job, I'm never going to see them again, or it's very unlikely, right? So the thing we need to realize is the more people you experience, the more we can bring it into and we can understand how to take care of people, right? So, I think one of the reasons why God gave me or brought me into this job was to experience a lot of people, experience serving other people, right? And as you serve other people, you experience the needs and how people think. In the future, I feel like God is really going to use me in a way where it's going to I'm going to either do a business, run for church. There's so many options, and it's such a big thing that we need to experience. We need to meet more people so we can understand and realize the needs and how people interact, how people think, right? And how to interact with people in a way that, in a way that, everyone can feel happy and everyone could leave the golf course or leave the interaction as a really amazing situation or as an amazing feeling after talking with you, right? And that's one of the ways we need to evangelize, right? We need to understand how they think, how they understand the world, how they interact with other people, and we need to do accordingly, right? And and that's one of the biggest things I really want to recommend everyone is that even though you're a massive introvert, right? Okay, let me say something pretty interesting. Like, because I'm in Korean, right? So I feel like there's two parts of me, right? When I speak English and I'm around people who speak English, I'm a massive introvert, right? And I think my mental dialogue is also in English, so it's like overall I'm an extrovert. However, when I go into the Korean world and I have Korean people around me, I tend to be very quiet, right? And I become like an introvert, right? So even the biggest introverts like me, we need to understand that meeting other people, meeting and understanding other people is the best way to, increase our social life, right? We need to experience more and more people, right? Different people. Not everyone's the same. And as God made me realize this, I really feel like that in the future, God will use that aspect of my life, right? Because of the amount of knowledge that I've gained of the different types of people and how to interact with them. And, if people are more stressed and more, have more anxieties, how, you're supposed to like lower your tone or, make sure that while you're around them, you don't do any subtle movements, or there's a lot of things that God made me realize through interacting with other people that I really recommend that everyone really, either it's through evangelism or just conversations, or even looking into or interacting with people you didn't interact in the past who's in your circle. You're meeting them every single day. Interact with these people. See how they interact with you, with other people. It's very important to not just have the same group, have the same circle of friends, right? That there's a limitation to the amount of knowledge you can gain. There's a limitation to how well God can use you in different situations, in different social situations, of course. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope everyone has an amazing rest of the week, an amazing weekend. And to everyone who is going until the end, let's walk this path together. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.
And thank you so much, Daniel, for another wonderful episode of Until the End. Hope you guys super enjoyed it. It has been a wonderful and awesome week, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed this week just as much as I have. I thank you so much for just supporting us here on the Morning Star Drive and for the Rebel Pastor, and I hope that in the future we'll be able to make great things happen through internet ministry. All right, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you guys again in April, right? On Monday on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like